If you guys enjoy the content on my art videos, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Odyssey. You can also find me on TikTok as well. Okay, with that said, let's see what we can learn today. Hello everybody, welcome back to my second video of my 4-part series on color theory. This is just a crash course on certain terms and stuff like that when it comes to color theory. Today we're going to be speaking about the basics of the color wheel, why are there different variations of the color wheel, and the major color schemes / groups, depending on what you call them. It doesn't really make a difference between schemes or groups given their labels. Even if you're a traditional artist or a digital artist, these techniques can apply. Just to be clear, these aren't rules you have to follow. If anything, see them more as guidelines, or at least some type of suggestion that you can use to make your work a lot more structured, or at least have an idea of what you want to do with these terms applying towards your work. So there's that. You'll be hearing these terms anyway in the art industry, whether you be in school, college, or the career, depending on what field you pick that has to do with being creative. In art especially, when it comes to graphic design, fashion design, or even interior design, or character design, whether in 2D or 3D animated shows, movies, or video games. That might play more in making maps or stages in popular games like Blizzard's Overwatch or EA's Apex Legends. But this is not a deep dive in game design, or fashion design, or even interior design. In that way, this is just about colors. Let's not get carried away now. But if you happen to be fascinated with game design and want to understand the fundamentals of it, or just like commentary of game design, the perfect person for this is New Frame Plus. He talks about game design in all aspects, given his personal commentary on them. I suggest you guys check him out if you want to learn something. His commentary is really insightful, and you might learn something, or you'll just enjoy it, depending on your fancy on that. Now, as far as colors go, as for colors, if you're not familiar with the basics of color theory that you should know, I suggest you see the first video before watching this one. I think it might be a little bit helpful. Now, viewers of my videos or live streams ask me tons of questions on what is color groups, or how do I use the color wheel? Well, for those of you who are just getting into art, whether you're an amateur or a novice or a pro or advanced pro, whatever, traditional or digital, you should be aware of these things, at least. Listen, you don't have to be Leonardo da Vinci to understand color theory. Just having a little bit could be just enough for you to get where you need to be, or a little bit more. But you don't have to have a doctorate in it in any way. So there's that. So, number 1. What is the color wheel and what is its purpose? The color wheel, also referred to as the color circle, is a visual representation of colors, arranged according to their chromatic relationship. The purpose of the color wheel is to show the relationship of color, so that we can create the exact shade, intensity, or tone of color you may desire. Now, since we got that out of the way, you must be asking, why are there several different types of the color wheel? Well, honestly, I can't find anything on it. To be honest with you, I think this is basically just on personal preference. Where you see a square, a triangle, or maybe a circle, depending on who you're asking. But honestly, a preference thing, so I don't think it's anything to be worried about. It doesn't change anything in the sense of your lesson or how you will learn how to do color. It's just what makes easier for others to use the color picker in that sense to find their saturation, their tints, and their shades. So I don't think there's much of a big deal for it. So I don't think that's something you guys should be worried about at all. So don't jump all up on that, because that's not important. Because I never really got an explanation why there was, and I'm doing just fine. I think anyone can tell you that, but that's just my personal opinion. But as far as I know, I couldn't find anything on the subject, unless I didn't try hard enough. But I hope I explained to you the purpose of the color wheel, and why is it important, and why you will need it in your future projects, or incorporate it in your projects in some form. Now, moving on, what is a color scheme, or a color group? Well, they're pretty much the same thing, but we'll just jump on to the basics of this. Viewers and inspiring artists always ask me this question: what is a color scheme? Do I need it? Is it important, just like the color wheel? Well, yes, it is important, because you want to do it right, or at least understand how color groups or color schemes or color palettes work. It depends on how you use them for your characters or for your backgrounds or whatever case may be. So it is important. Yes, because they're helpful to use. I suggest to get familiar with them in some form. You don't have to know all of them. You can pick one and just stick with one particular scheme. But first thing, what is a color scheme? Well, a color scheme, a particular combination of colors that work well in harmony with one another, meaning that colors that work well together, pretty much in that obvious sentence. Now, we need to understand the color groups like primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors. But right now we'll stick with primary colors for now. Primary colors are any group of colors from which all other colors can be obtained by mixing. Truly, these primary colors are the main colors, and those main colors are red, yellow, and blue. These are the main colors that will be best to use when starting. And then we can go to the secondary colors. A secondary color is a color resulting from mixing of two primary colors. So for instance, if we take red and get blue, put it together, we get violet or purple, depending on what you call it on. Or for instance, if we take blue and yellow and we make green, perfect, right? Or we take red and yellow and make that pretty much orange. So the secondary colors mainly are green, orange, and purple. So that's something you guys should know. Last but not least, we have tertiary colors. Tertiary colors is one of the last of the color types. You get a good grasp of the tertiary colors. It's not as hard as you think. You take only like a primary color and a secondary color and you kind of combine them. So it's kind of like a mid-tone between the two of the primary and the secondary, like red and orange, yellow and green, pink and purple, blue and green. So we have something called like lime green, orange hot, or green blue, depending, or green blue is mostly referred to as turquoise in some form. When you hear this term tertiary colors, think of midtones in that sense. Don't be intimidated by this term because hearing it may sound a lot more scary than it is, than it being something more serious than what it is. Those of you who are having struggling with this particular color scheme should do perfectly fine with this. It's just combining two different things and making one. So there you go. Now moving on, we're going to ask the big question. What are the major 6 color schemes or groups, depending on what you're saying? Now, one of them is called pretty much the complementary colors. These are pretty much colors that use two opposite colors on the color wheel. So it's pretty much simple. We just use two colors that's opposite from each other from the same direction and use them as complementary colors, as we use here as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. He's a perfect example of this. Now let's move on to something called triadic colors. Triadic colors is composed of 3 colors evenly spaced on the color wheel. The two most basic triadic plates are the complementary colors red, blue, and yellow, and the secondary hues orange, purple, and green. So here in Mario we use yellow, blue, and red. So those are mainly the primary ones. So it was easy to use that. And now, as we have here for Lucio, we have something called the analogous colors. The color scheme uses colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. They usually match well and create serene and comfortable designs. As you can see, green, yellow, blue, and they're right next to each other, so it kind of helps out. So they complement each other pretty well as well. Okay, moving on, we have Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. For this example, we're using split complementary colors. The color scheme is a variation of the complementary color scheme. In addition to the base color, it uses 2 colors adjacent to its complement. This color scheme has 2 same strong visual contrast as the complementary color scheme, but less tension. So we have 2 colors that are very similar to each other, but we have one big color that actually stands out, like the arrow on his head. So that helps. Next, we have the eBay sign. I know this is not a character, but I'm just using this as an example. This also can work for graphic design in that sense too. So I'm just showing you guys what colors work well with each other. Mainly, if you look closely, it's just using complementary colors that's usually across from each other in some form, in some way, if anything. So that's an example. So in the example, we have red, blue, yellow, and green. We can use the tertiary colors. So the tertiary colors pretty much is a tertiary color harmony we use as a combination of 4 colors that consist of 2 sets of complementary colors. For example, purple and blue, green plus yellow, green, and red. These colors from a rectangle. The color on the short side of the rectangle are spaced and color apart. Also, you can put an X. Doesn't matter, put a square if anything. Okay, moving on to monochromatic colors. So this one's going to be a little like more like grayscale in some sense, but this is using actual color, not just grays and blacks or whites. So use, for this, all of the colors of a single hue, chromatic color schemes are derived from a single base hue and extended using its shades, tones, and tints. So basically you just take the same color and you either use the darkness of that color or the lightness, which is the tints, and also the shades, and then somewhere in between, and that great stuff. So I hope this helps you guys out there. Thank you guys for being awesome and being understanding of this. I know this is extremely short and this is a crash course, but if you want more of this, you have to sign up to my Patreon so you get the big scoop on how this works and how we use these type of colors and these techniques to make your characters like shine, and your character designing, whether it be your OC or whatever case may be. But thank you guys for being supportive and being 100% patient with my videos. I'm sorry it took me some time to actually make this. I know it's just 10 minutes or so, or a little more than that, but you know, I tried some new stuff. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the new visuals. Do you like it? Do you not? So let me know, because it will help me. So leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Remember to hit that bell button, because it lets you guys know on the notifications, so when I post a new video and all that great stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And also we're probably gonna be focusing in the next video on grayscale, because that's something extremely important you guys should learn, and I'm still learning it myself, but I'll give you what I know. I'm not a total expert on it, but I have some understanding on how it works. So next video we're going to be focusing on grayscale. I don't know how long that video will be and how much I can say, but I'm going to try my best to do something with it. Maybe next week or the following week. Maybe it might take me 2 weeks to make a video from now on. I don't know, but we'll see. So with that said, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if it was or it wasn't. Give it a thumbs up or even a thumbs down if you didn't like it. But if you didn't like this video, always jump onto the descriptions. I always have recommendations of other YouTubers who explain the same exact topic better than I could. So with that said, there you guys. I'm Artextras. Keep safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.